on, guys. This time not from the table, but from outside running. Super windy, I know. I hope you can hear me. But I want to talk about today about hill reps, technique work, and endurance especially. I've been having a long journey when it comes to endurance training. Actually, I went from data all over the place. I went from only being on data, on paces. Then I was all addicted to HRV. I was addicted to running to power. I was addicted to only running by feeling. I mean, I've been doing this for 10, 12, 15 years now, running especially. So I've had a long journey, and I want to share a little bit with you what I think is the most healthy approach, and at least what works for me. So today we're having an endurance run. Most guys actually think what makes you fast is all the fast stuff, but 80% of the work is endurance work. So that's like zone 1, zone 2 stuff. Today we're having a 1-hour endurance run, but for the last year, at least twice a week, I've been doing this endurance runs, but always with technique work, which we're gonna get into right after this. And but I want to talk to you about how you approach the endurance run, right? So the first part in each run is like the 10-15 minute warm-up, and in that part I never look at my watch, only with heart rate. I want to see how my body responds. I definitely don't look at paces when it comes to the Garmin watches. I just check, one is time and one is heart rate. I just look at that and really just go by feel. Sometimes every now and then in the warm-up I check the pace. Sometimes like, oh, I'm way too quick for 0, I back off. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm like 5:30 pace, minute per K. It's like, okay, body's just a bit tired, but it's totally okay, because I give it the time. You want your body to warm up. One reason I'm not a big fan of Strava as well, because I'm sure so many people got actually injured because of Strava, because in the back of their mind they're thinking, oh, this thing's gonna be uploaded, the average pace gotta be good, right? So anything that distracts you from doing your best potential, kick it out. So after the 10-15 minutes and your body is ready and feels like, okay, you feel warm, everything feels good, now I get into technique work. After that we're gonna have some hill strides. For the last year I always had strides, like 6 to 8 times, building up later, 20 to 30 second strides. And strides are not sprints, just like what I'm doing now. 8 times 30 seconds hill strides. It's not hill sprints, right? It's not like you're sprinting up that hill, then you're doing it wrong. So you want a nice fluent running technique, same as the hill I'm choosing for the hill strides. You see, it's not very steep, it shouldn't be steep, it has to be runnable. You have to be still able to run a fast pace, so like 7 to 10% maybe, like a quite low gradient that you can really pick up speed still. You have a nice technique. I did use power and run. I still have it on the stride, but mainly as a learning objective, because just like with riding on your bike, it's actually the same, that you have to learn that when you run with power up a hill, same time when you put a power meter on your bike the first time, when you're riding up a hill, you're seeing like, oh, my power goes like 60% up, I have to back off. That same learning experience I had with the power meter actually, that in order to run steady, that's the name of the game in Ironman. So you learn how much power you put down to get up a hill, and then actually maintain that power to go down. You actually have to speed up quite a bit. So that's the learning with power. But I mainly use, in general, to sum it up, I mainly use first heart rate when I have an endurance run, and especially low intensity long run. I just look at heart rate, I don't look at all at pace. When I have specific sessions, I definitely look at pace. Every now and then I have a peak where I'm at, but in power I only look afterwards in the file to see where my threshold is and all this stuff. But I'm not using it in the race as of now. But heart rate, pace, and one of the most important one is subjective feeling, how you're feeling. That's still super important.
Come on, let's start running, let's go!
So with this one I'm really pushing the hip back and pulling this one up. So really want that hip extension. Maybe you feel a bit tight here, then you know, okay, you have to stretch your quads a bit, but this way you can really open up your hip. Pull this up and push the glutes forward. That's the first one. Then there's lunges, also there, straight low back. You want to push the hip forward, so you open up the hip, load mainly the front leg. So I want the glutes and hamstring on that front leg to be activated. So lean all the way forward, but stretch the rear leg like this. Load the glutes, feel them, load the glutes. And later, when I feel I'm warm, I really open up the hip that I get a nice hip extension, which I will need for the hill strides. Then something to open up the hamstring mobility, just like this. Also the rear leg, that you don't drop in there, so you really want to keep that one really straight. So look at my left leg, I try to keep it as straight as possible, and of course straighten out the other leg. I'll do like 3 times 10 of those. After the 3 sets of 10 of those, I go on to the next part, which is then a bit more dynamic stuff. So the first one is like this. I do 20 meters, focusing only on my glutes, really push through the glutes. I want those firing, let's say 20 meters. Then a bit more dynamic. Also here, you want your foot to land under your body with a bit forward lean. I want to feel my glutes. And then it's 10 meters quick for the calves to activate them. All right, so that's the run done for today. 1 hour in total. I did in the end 8 times 30 seconds hill strides, not hill sprints, different story. It shouldn't be taxing or anything. I just focused on having like a really fluent technique, and really all the way to the end. Not as soon as I got tired and I felt like you have to grunt it, I kind of backed off and focused on technique, like tilting the pelvis back, really pushing through the glutes, not overstriding. And we have been only doing the hill strides for like 2 weeks now, compared to before just strides. Before I did like for a year almost, I did twice a week, 8 times 20 second strides, but on the flat. And I noticed that's an entirely different thing, impact wise on the one hand. So I really felt that the impact is on the flat just higher. And it's of course higher speed, so the speed is low on the uphill, which is of course for injury prevention good. And I felt when you're running the hill strides up, like I said, it's not a steep hill, it's not like that. It's really like a small gradient, and where you really still have a lot of speed, but not as much as on a flat or on a track or anything like that. But I felt like you're really working on your hamstrings, your glutes, and the calf, of course. They get a bit of an extra stimulus. So I like that, but it's still not taxing anyway. It's just really one minute easy jog down, and then 8 times 30 seconds. It's really good. And then just zone 1, zone 2, it always test in a plan with Coach Brazer. And depending how I feel, in the beginning, of course, you're a bit tired from the hill sprints. You do a few minutes easy. So go with your body, that's the most important one. When you have key workouts and your coach tells you to, hey, hit this number, then of course you gotta try to do that. But otherwise, running is a sport where you're most likely to get injured from all of them, except for biking, where you could have an accident that you can avoid with indoors and being on the road at the right time with flashy clothes and lights, LEDs front and back. I always preach that, but that helps. And running wise, just going too quick with volume up, too quick with intensity up, those are the classic ones. And if you're just always looking after pace, there's a reason when they invent paces and when you do tests and Training Peaks spits out those ranges, there's a range for your zone 2, for example, pace, and also for your heart rate in zone 2. So it's a range on purpose made from the lower end to a higher end, and depending how you're feeling on the day, everything impacts that: sleep, caffeine, general training load before the day. So always be rational. Never force it to like, oh, my ego really wants to run that high-end pace of that zone 2. Sometimes the body just doesn't want to, and sometimes what I noticed, for example, after doing the warm-up, when I was really patient for 10-15 minutes, low pace, suddenly body clicked, it kind of warmed up nicely, and it went automatically to paces where I hoped it would go to. That's it for this week. I'm gonna be doing a few more of those that I'll let you guys follow along as much as I can here. And yeah, that's it for this week. Chat next week, guys. Bye. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. You can really help me out if you like and subscribe, push your notification bell, comment below what you want to see next, and I see you in the next video.